Welcome to this new video, the 9th episode about transforming a laundry room into a bathroom. And for those who are wondering, yes, we are at my place, so I'm transforming this laundry room into a bathroom. It opens onto the workshop, but soon the workshop will be moved to my property, and then the workshop will be set up in another room. Previously, I plastered the entire ceiling. It's ready for the spotlights and insulation. We're going to insulate from the attic. And for those who are joining along the way, if you haven't seen the previous episodes, I created a playlist. You have the link in the description and you'll find all the episodes there. So in this episode, we have quite a few things to do. Run the conduits for the spotlights, make the holes for the spotlights, install the insulation, and add protection between the spotlight and the insulation, all while maintaining the airtightness. So it's been several weeks now that I've been working in this area, which was insulated before I tore everything down. And now that there's no more insulation, I really realize how important it is to properly insulate your home. Right now, I can really feel the cold all the time. Even when I go into the insulated part of the house, close the door and put back an extruded polystyrene panel, you can still feel the cold. So now I'm going to insulate again and I'm really going to feel comfortable. Properly insulating a home helps you feel good at home and saves on heating and energy costs. Heating is becoming an increasingly significant expense, and no matter what energy source you use to heat your home, if your house is poorly insulated, you're going to consume a lot. If you've been living in your home for 15 or 20 years, you've never done any renovation work, and you say every year you have to heat more and more and it's costing you more and more, then you definitely need to reconsider your home. Insulation can be checked every 10 or 15 years depending on its condition, but over time the wool insulation settles and loses its effectiveness. Coming back to insulation for 3 reasons. I'm going to lay it in rolls, 200 mm thick and without a vapor barrier. So glass wool without a vapor barrier, because I've already installed an airtight membrane. 200 mm because my supplier didn't have any 400 mm left. So I'm going to put 2 layers of 200 mm and I could even leave it at 200 mm, but as I said, I'm going to double it. Because for now it serves as thermal insulation, but since I'm going to convert the attic and turn it into a usable space, I'll insulate under the roof, so the insulation I'm installing today, which serves as thermal insulation, will later serve as sound insulation between the ground floor and the upper floor. But for now, we're talking about thermal insulation with 2 layers of 200 mm thickness because the work in the attic isn't happening right away. So the insulation we're going to install, you've seen the roll for a while now. It's right here. It's Ursa thermoacoustic, so it's 200 mm. It's glass wool bare without a vapor barrier. It has a thermal resistance of 5.70 with a lambda value of 0.035. The roll is 1.20 meters wide and 3 meters long, which matches my 3-meter panel with 60 centimeters between each stud. We cut the roll in half, cut the plastic, it unrolls by itself, it will expand, and when I finish installing the spotlights, I'll add another 200 mm. And in terms of thermal insulation, 2 layers of 200 mm I'm good, and like I said later on, it will only be for sound insulation. So 2 times 200 mm for soundproofing, that's what we're doing. And we'll talk again about thermal and sound insulation when I do the calculations, because like I said, I have the whole roof to insulate and also the floor, since it's going to be a wooden floor, and between the joists and the wooden floor, I'll add more insulation. I'm installing insulation before cutting holes in the drywall for spotlights. It would be much easier to do it the other way, but I need to install the fiberglass insulation first, then cut the drywall at each spotlight location and use the knife to cut the fiberglass. So it will stick out in the attic space. That way I'll know where to dig into the fiberglass to put my protection between the spotlight and the fiberglass. Now that we've covered everything, let's go up into the attic, roll out the fiberglass insulation, and I'll come down to drill the drywall and show you a simple trick to protect the spotlight from insulation. Let's go! Alright, I came back down to explain what I'm doing, even though you probably understood that the goal was to install the spotlights and create protection against the insulation, as well as an airtight seal using a PVC channel and an inspection cap as a cover, but working in the attic space isn't easy. Filming by putting the camera on the joists is a nightmare, so I prefer to come back here. I made a model using a scrap piece of drywall. It's exactly the same thing I did on the ceiling. I'll be able to explain everything to you again. So let me make a side note. Currently, there are no spotlights in the shower area because I'm waiting for the shower head. Once I have the shower head and ventilation system, I'll place the spotlights. Painting will be done in the meantime. I'll have some touch-ups to do with the filler and paint. That's not a problem, but at least I won't have a spotlight right above the shower head. It would be a real shame to waste a spotlight, so I'll take this one back. I have others. We'll place them in the shower. The spotlights aren't placed randomly. I arranged them based on all the elements. I marked everything out on the floor. The bathtub, the shower, the bathtub panel, the future bench in the shower, the thickness of the plasterboard and the tiles. And based on all that, you mark the spotlight's positions on the floor. We set up the laser. It projects onto the ceiling. All I have to do is go through the plasterboard. So, before that, of course, I drilled to mark the spot on the membrane. With my little cardboard template, I cut out the membrane. Because if you drill directly with the hole saw, you'll tear the membrane. So now that it's cut out, then I went back down. I drilled with the hole saw and the dust collector. Zero dust. I take my template again. I was able to place the spotlight. I traced around it with a pencil. I routed to recess the spotlight into the plasterboard. I could have put it on top, but that would have made it stick out. I didn't like that. And you saw that the spotlight is height adjustable. I was able to align the spotlight with the plasterboard. I put on a first coat of filler, then a second coat of filler. That's just to fill it in. Next, I'll sand it and we'll apply the finishing coat. So let me show you the spotlight. The model is right here. So it's written somewhere. It's the Ferro Fresh model. Ferro is the brand, Fresh is the model. I removed the metal bracket that's supposed to attach to the spotlight. We put it here, like this. I don't need it because my sliding rail holds everything. So I'm taking this off. This spotlight doesn't have a trim, it's completely plastered in. And you can adjust it. You can adjust the height, so you can let it stick out if you think it looks good. It's adjustable. I don't care about adjusting the beam. On the other hand, the advantage of it being adjustable is that it's open inside. So air can circulate, because what happens with a completely sealed fixture is that condensation can form. So here, air will get in and circulate. And it's even better for heat, even though these are LED bulbs and they don't heat up at all, it's still good to have air circulation just in case. So of course we also have the socket, the bulb holder that screws in from underneath. So I can work either from above, since I made an access with the inspection cap, or from below by unscrewing the bulb holder. I have access to the bulb and the socket. And then the bulbs are LED bulbs, just the most standard kind. So, there is also this type of cover. It's made by Spot Clip. It's vented. We're not talking about air tightness at all. The idea is to push the insulation and have a protection between the spotlight and the insulation. You have the hole for your spotlight that's been made. You insert the spot clip directly into the hole. You clip it in. There are little spikes on the legs. I press down on it. And that's what it looks like. So, it pushes the insulation. Here there's no air tightness at all. That's the downside. But on the other hand, it's not expensive. Because the PVC sleeve with the access cap can be very expensive. Here it might be around 8 or 9 euros. It's good that I had some. I used them. But if I had to buy 10 sleeves, 10 caps, I don't know if I would have done it, honestly. There is another alternative though. It would be to buy a box, the cheapest one possible. Well, this one is a bit big. It's just a small demo hole. You make a hole underneath, a bead of AM's polymer. You press at the spot, so the spot ends up inside the box. You make the connections, you put the lid back on, the insulation all around and on top, and you're good. You have several alternatives. The box that's not expensive, the sleeve with the access cap, or as I told you, there's the spot clip. So for my part, I used PVC sleeves with a 125 mm diameter. The inspection cap as a lid, so I could glue it and use only this part as a lid. Or I could just leave it. I don't know, I'll see. I drilled the slide, ran the cable, and pressed everything. But I still have to run all the cables through conduit, at least so that it sticks out at the level of the insulation. I have some conduit, but it's pre-wired conduit. I don't like throwing wire away, so I'll buy a roll of conduit. It'll be useful, always. And like I said, at least so that it sticks out from the insulation. The goal after that is to fit out the attic, but I'll leave anything under 1.80 m as attic space. And all the cables, so in this area above the bathroom, I'll have all the electrical wiring, the ventilation system, I'll have a bit of plumbing too, you'll understand why, and everything will be exposed. It's easier to find your way around in case I ever need to work on it. Instead of telling myself, no, it's hidden in the insulation, you have to unscrew floor panels, because I'm going to put in a floor and I'm going to use all these areas as attic space to store boxes, things we never use, but we keep them, we don't know why. So I'm going to use that as attic space. And rather than bothering to clear everything out, to unscrew floor panels, to find a conduit or work on the plumbing, I'm going to leave everything exposed. So the only thing left for me to do is to glue the slides around the rings. So I'm going to put a thick bead of MS polymer glue all around. Press the slide around it, it's going to squeeze out, and at least I'm good in terms of sealing. Now let me clarify something about the spotlights. There are some that you can install directly in the insulation. You even have a rubber gasket between the trim and the ceiling to ensure a seal. But even if you can install them directly in the insulation, it's always best to put a cover between the recessed light and the insulation. Better safe than sorry. Alright, we've covered everything about the recessed lights. Next step, we're going to paint this ceiling. I'm not going to paint it white, I'm going to paint it another color. You'll see all of that. But before that, I need to sand what I've done and put on another finishing coat. Sand it again, thoroughly dust off the ceiling, and then we can paint it. This video is now over. Thank you for watching. I'll see you very soon. And in the meantime, take care.